Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Even though I'm not recording on a Friday, my work schedule's a little tossing things around. But anyways, up to the nitty gritty, let's get down to business. So the stories we have today are quite interesting. Some may be short, some may be very long, but either way, a story is a story, and it's worth sitting down and listening to. I just want to thank the people, the folks, and all the potential other folks that are, getting ready to submit their stories and all that fancy stuff. Thank you. I love you very much. And alrighty, well, let's get straight into it. So our first story of today comes from prototype underscore 2828. A rather short one, but prototype says, hmm, I've seen a naked pale guy run into a bush while drinking with my friends. It was also nighttime. It was weird because we both thought it was a skinwalker or something. It's definitely, I can relate to that. Um, there's been a lot of situations where, I've been either camping or I've been hiking, and just all of a sudden you just see something just walking or running past the bushes, and I'm over here thinking, oh God, like, is it an animal or is it is some sort of cryptid? But no, it just turns out to be either a lost person or a homeless person, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that's that, I guess. So yeah, definitely very interesting. Alrighty, for our second one, it's going to be quite a long one, so you might want to sit down for this one. This tale comes from a user called PHRXGG. Not even trying to say that, I'm just gonna spell it out. But anyways, we'll just call him PH for now. PH has this to say. On one of my birthdays, I was all by myself. No friends came over, and my family members that I live with were all out doing things they wanted to do. I think I was either 14 or 15 at that time and was just chilling at the house. Granted, I was sad as hell because no one came to my birthday or even called or texted to say happy birthday. So, being the bored and sad teen I was, I decided that if no one was gonna make my birthday special, then I was gonna make it special myself. I had bought a large cake from the supermarket, some candles, ice cream, and a birthday hat for myself. It was around 7 or 8 o'clock when I finally decided to get everything set up and finished, with putting the candles on the cake and lighting them. Before I could even blow out my own candles, they had went out, so I thought nothing of it and lit them again just for them to go out once more. After like 3 or 4 times of relighting the candles, I started to get pissed off and lit them one more time. They stayed lit, and I tried to blow them out, but to no avail. That's when I was questioning if I was tripping or not. The candles didn't even melt, which really confused me. Suddenly, the room started to get really fucking cold. Like, to the point I was shivering a bit. My grandfather had this old ass radio that he held onto that would never really work. I would just play a whole bunch of static like noises. The moment that radio came on all by itself, when I knew something was completely and utterly off and wrong. Happy birthday was the only 2 words I heard come from that goddamned radio, and then the candles went out. The static grew louder and louder past the max volume that the radio could go, and then it just sounded like something broke inside it. Like it popped a circuit or something, and as soon as that happened, I heard these loud fucking footsteps from behind me like something was about to run me down. I remember the footsteps stopping right behind me and a cold breeze of air brushing past my face, and I swear I heard "Happy Birthday" before I started shaking out of pure fear and rushed all the way to the third floor of my house, to my room and into my closet where I hid silently, crying and wishing my family would come back already. The last thing I remember was hearing the radio one more time. It was radio news of someone that had died on their birthday, which was the same day as mine and the exact same time. I was trying to celebrate by myself. Never again will I celebrate a birthday by myself. Oh man, truly bone chilling, definitely getting goosebumps in the skin. Uh, it's quite an interesting, account. Uh, Definitely a big fan of, the paranormal, the weird, the eerie, the unknown. Uh, and yeah, I mean, that's awesome. That's, I mean, yeah, it can be terrifying, but just to be able to experience, hear stuff that's out of the norm, it's fascinating. Truly is. Which is a great segue into my personal account. Um, Not as interesting as PH's, I can tell you that, but definitely a tell in itself. So many years ago, back when I used to live in it was these apartments that were so run down. Uh, these apartments are completely covered by woods, and as far as I remember, the apartments have been around since what 1980. So not extremely old, but whenever you drive by and you look at them, you're like, yeah, these these places are. This place is very dilapidated. But anyways, so me and my family, we used to live in one of the apartments that was like right next to the woods. We always saw a lot of, like homeless people and just weird looking feral dogs walking around. Like the door was so close to the woods that you could just run across a couple of steps and you're already in the forest. So very close. Um, but the woods has nothing to do with this. It's a little observation point. Um, the real, scariness of this was the apartment itself. It was haunted. My mom would always have these just nightmares, like crazy, crazy nightmares, just screaming and hollering in the middle of the night. And what made it worse is that I slept in the room because, I mean, I was a little kid. My bed was in the corner of the room, and I slept, and I would hear her crying, and my dad would wake up and like, "What's going on? Are you okay? What's going on?" And she would keep saying that she would see a little girl just standing in the corner, and I mean, keep in mind, I'm sleeping in the corner of the room, so well, opposite of where obviously she's seeing the stuff, but I mean, just imagine how terrified I was, just my eyes wide open in the middle of the night. Uh, it got worse because, well, we had a lot of family that would come over and they were very religious. So, every time they would come in and start saying like, "Oh, there's like a heavy presence in here or something feels weird." And I mean, me as a kid, I was just like, kind of brushing it off. I'm like, "Well, it is what it is, I guess. I don't really believe in that stuff." Until the point where whenever I was taking a bath, it was a bubble bath, and I filled the bathtub. I was laying down, just minding my own business, having fun in the water, and I remember feeling something between my legs, around my groin area, and I was thinking to myself like, I don't think I have any like rubber duckies or anything in the water with me, as far as I know. So the moment I start moving the bubbles, away from the surface, I kid you not, and I still remember vividly to this day, seeing whenever I moved the bubbles and just cleared up an area, looking down and seeing what looked like a decaying face with, pale white eyes, very like a rotten looking face. It wasn't smiling or anything, but it was just looking up. The moment I saw that, almost like in those Tom and Jerry cartoons, I just jumped out of the water and I freaked the hell out. Like I just grabbed my towel and I ran into my mom's room and I told them that, what I had seen. They looked at me and they just laughed it off and saying they have a vivid imagination and I was just saying things. But whenever I ran back to the bathtub to look at him, I mean, there's nothing in there. I would scoop the water and just put my hand in there to see if I could feel anything, but nothing. So they didn't really take me serious for that one. But the one that really they took me really serious about was especially my dad, because obviously, my mom, she's been having these nightmares and stuff like that. So I guess I guess they didn't believe my stories because maybe they thought I was going off of her. But anyways, the event that really convinced them both that, there was altogether something going on in the house, not just my mom, was whenever my uncle and his family came over. I think they came over was it to visit from vacation or something? Um, so he was taking a shower and we were all in the living room talking, we were eating, watching TV, and all of a sudden we just hear some loud scream. Uh, it was I was gonna try to scream it, but I'm not really good with sound effects, but it was just something like ah, something like that. And so everyone, their head just perked up and like, whoa, 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 what the hell was that? And he just comes running out, holding the towel, shaking, like his eyes, just huge, massive eyes. They almost look like they were about to fall out, and saying that something grabbed him in the shower, and that, something touched him, and, my aunt was trying to calm him down, like, oh, all right, calm down, what's going on? That's when he turned around and you see these three long red marks on his back. Like, it's not. I definitely, whenever I saw it, it wasn't something that looked like it was self-inflicted. Just to see like the lines that were made, just three straight, all the way from the back of his neck to towards like the bottom, right at the hips before the ass starts, I guess you can call it. But when I saw that, and my mom saw that, and my dad and everyone in the living room saw that, they knew, it was serious business. Thus, eventually, what ended up happening days after that, we ended up calling was it a pastor? And he came in with a couple of other people. They ended up doing well, honestly, I'm not really, I don't know too much about like, religion. Uh, so I can't really s- say what they were doing. I mean, I guess like if I offend anyone in the religious sect, uh, I apologize, but I'm guessing, were blessing the place or doing. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. All I saw was that he was throwing what I'm guessing is holy water around, speaking in tongues, and as well as everyone else, and casting out whatever was in the house. And yeah, I mean, it was like a couple days after that, it just seemed like whatever was in the house was gone. It just vanished. My mom was no longer having night terrors. Everything was back to normal, I suppose. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of that apartment. And by the way, those apartments still are around to this day. Uh, the forest area has gotten way worse. There's just trash all over the place, literally. One of these days, I'll have to take a drive down there and record some footage for y'all. Just how eerie and creepy it looks, because the forest, it splits into two. It's, the side where, there's a lot of trash and there's a lot of sunlight can still manage to break through the canopy, but there's a path that divides the forest into two. Once you cross that dirt path, it becomes very dense. Like, the sunlight doesn't really penetrate as much, so there's like a very shadowy eeriness to it, because there's a lot of homeless people that camp out there and they make camps and stuff like that. But that's a story, another story in itself that I'll count on the next Freaky Friday, because it gets really, really weird. But anyways, hey guys, just want to say I appreciate y'all listening in if you made it this far. If you enjoyed it, well, that's awesome. If you didn't, well, that's awesome. If you have any stories of your own or anything interesting, scary, spooky, creepy, whatever, feel free to send it to me. You can send it to my socials, which, if you're listening to this, then you already probably know what the socials are. But if you don't, you could always send it to my Newgrounds. It's AfroChan332, or of course, you can send it to Instagram, which is the same thing, Afro underscore Chan332. But anyways, I appreciate you for listening. Stay freaky, stay spooky, and of course,